All right, speaking of regulation, SEC fines Tether's former auditor 1.5 million for improper professional conduct, end quote. The regulator said New York-based accounting firm Friedman LLP, Tether's auditor in 2017, failed to perform audits appropriately. This article from Decrypt by Z Wang. So the regulator found the accounting firm engaged in several instances of improper professional conduct on two of its audits from 2017 to 2020. Wow. So this is audits of two companies from 2017 to 2020. So, wow, they didn't perform the proper procedures in work with grocery chain iFresh, and also did not exercise professional skepticism and due professional care in its handling of another unnamed company's audit. Interesting. So this saying the order doesn't mention Tether outright. The stablecoin issuer retained Friedman LLP as an auditor from May 2017 to January of 2028 before ending the relationship. Seems like this is a little clickbaity, if I do say so myself. But
yep.
Let's.
I mean,
let's tell me. Like, yeah, give me what.
It is a little clickbaity, but ultimately, Tether nor Friedman LLP have responded. Friedman LLP basically got in trouble for failing to perform audits for iFresh, and they didn't exercise professional skepticism and do professional care, which would mean that they potentially did not perform the same type of due diligence on Tether.
Yeah.
The connection here, who wrote this article, Z Wang, he reaching when he says the connection between them not performing a audit Tether and the current lawsuit that was filed earlier this year, back earlier this month, saying that Tether has to ultimately produce documents showing the true backing of its stablecoin. Earlier in the show, we said that the Binance BUSD was backed 1-to-1. USDC has said they are reducing their commercial paper, but Tether has yet to produce documents showing the full backing of its stablecoin. There were allegations that fake Tether was being printed to actually buy Bitcoin and continue to prop up the price, therefore manipulating the price of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies by using Tether that isn't actually backed by anything to inflate the price of other cryptocurrencies. Is that true or not? We will see based on the court cases that have been filed. But then there was another investigation by the CFTC that found that Tether only held enough dollar reserves for a quarter of the time between 2016 and 2018. So Z Wang did reach a bit by inferring that Friedman LLP had not adequately conducted its audit in the case of Tether. However, Tether is still under deep scrutiny with multiple lawsuits and a U.S. judge saying you do, in fact, need to show the backing of USDT to.
Yeah. We'll get into this article a little bit, but on Tether, and this is from, shout out to my Bitcoin sensei, Cyprian, formerly Ben Armani, with the Bitcoin Mystery School. But Tether is definitely a shady company, kind of some shady people behind it. But the fact of them being one of the first stablecoin, how they actually did it, minting it on Bitcoin, essentially turning, I think, 35 cents into $100 worth of Bitcoin. And then from there on out, that's how we've gotten a lot of the volume on Bitcoin, and the value of the cryptocurrency has gone up. Basically, it's kind of like miraculous. And I think with what you were saying, with them being shown that they didn't have the cash reserves, it's a huge deal, because it's like, yeah, this is the reserve currency of cryptocurrency, just because how they've started, and they pretty much minted it out of thin air. the peg hasn't broken yet, and it's kind of like one of those things where they're like the private Federal Reserve of crypto, just because of the volume and liquidity that they kind of pumped out of the value that they pumped out of thin air, which is kind of like how crazy, and their ability to kind of put in danger the financial system. And that's why they're keep being harped on in the news, and they're coming after them so hard because of like what they've done. If people go back and look, it is freaking crazy amazing to do what they did, even though they spent a lot of money to figure it out, how it was done, and the value that it brought to the cryptocurrency market. And we realized, yeah, their record shows they aren't back for one for the dollar. But at the end of the day, kind of like it doesn't really matter, even though, and I feel like they're trying to break the peg, bring up these lawsuits and coming after them consistently. But it's interesting how it will retain, and I think it's kind of one of those things where it's kind of amazing to see all that, how they've been able to retain it, even though they may not actually have the reserves.
Yeah, man, it's kind of weird. I'm doing a little catch up history here, but back in October of 2021, so just a year ago. Pull this article up, because this is gonna really, I think people may have forgotten some things, and I certainly had. I had forgotten that Letitia James, New York Attorney General, ordered Tether Bitfinex to pay $18.5 million to cease trading. I've forgotten about that. Time had kind of rolled. But then we just talked about the CFTC and what they did to Tether, because only a quarter of it was held in fiat reserves during 2016 and 2018. But here's the part I want to highlight that I truly think many of us forgot. 4 days after the CFTC fine, Alex Mashinsky, the CEO of crypto lending platform Celsius, told Financial Times that Tether occasionally issues its dollar-pegged cryptocurrency as a loan in exchange for cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and Ethereum. This contravenes the company's own terms and the fundamental principles of stablecoin. Mashinsky elaborated that the stablecoins issued or destroyed when repaid was not to increase the circulating supply. Tether has tried to be more transparent this year. That was in August of 2021, so a year ago, and the report revealed that almost half of Tether's reserves are in the form of commercial paper, and only 10% comes from cash and bank deposits. So last year, we knew only 10% of Tether was being backed by cash. And then we also knew as a fact that Celsius CEO said that Tether was lending its stablecoin for real Bitcoin and Ethereum. Is Bitfinex and Tether a scam? According to Attorney General in New York, Letitia James, it's a scam. According to the SEC, the CFTC, it's a scam. And according to Mr. Z Wang, he says the company that conducted their audit also was fined by the SEC $1.5 million for improper professional conduct. If it bark like a dog, walk like a dog, quack like a duck, and walk like a duck, it's probably a dog and a duck, man.
Yeah,
I'm staying away from Tether, man. We seeing winners and losers, and that might be the loser.